from Hong Kong all the way to here does not seem to be very well. They're clamping down on the internet there as well.
Indeed.
As you can
Truly,
see.
truly tragic.
Absolutely. Should we allow such a basic human right, such as the access to internet, be interfered with in a world where we have moved on to technological advancements, where we're even using a currency as physical
We
currency?
are live from Hong Kong to cover the biggest protest Hong Kong has ever seen in defiance of the newly set up PRC institution that has replaced the democratic institutions of Hong Kong. Live report from the place. We are going to interview one of the protesters to see their view. Oh, sir, excuse me. Can you please tell us a little bit about what you're protesting for?
You want to say China can go die. Please get the fuck out from Hong Kong. And please don't kill us, Hong Kongers, like William Kwok. Don't kill him, please. Don't kill him.
Okay, okay, thank you, sir. Maybe, sir, you can share a little bit about to us.
We want William Kwok back. We want democracy. And we want communist China to get out of Hong Kong. We, the people of Hong Kong, will fight against China. Yay!
Okay, protests are mostly peaceful, but there are legitimate fears of broader repression as police and PLA line up in front of the protest line.
All right, thank you for that transmission. At least a certain amount of internet quota has still been available to the people of Hong Kong, and we have been able to watch that video. With that, the chairs would like to welcome members of the press corps for their, if they have any questions or reportings that they would like to do. Or the delegates have any questions for them. Welcome, members of the press corps. You may have the floor.
All right, thank you, chairs and delegates. We'll have the press conference upon the upcoming breaking news. For the journalist of SCMP under the name of Shafanisa, you may have the floor.
Thank you for your time and thank you for the opportunity you have given me. I have been watching how the meeting go down, and I have noticed that the delegate of Taiwan has mentioned some kind of organization that this council has probably been in plan for a couple of years, couple of months. May I know what organization it is, what its objectives is, and may I know a little bit more about the ox that was captured in Bangkok? If you don't mind explaining on that, that would be very appreciated. Thank you so much. You may answer.
Thank you for representative of the South China Morning Post. Well, the organizations that we are working in is, of course, Consultative Group of Asia. Here, our main primary goals are simple, right? We are here to uphold basically stability, human rights, freedom of assembly to the people of Asia. And of course, in this case that we're talking about is the people of Hong Kong. We saw, based on the recent various cases, 1989, 2020, and 14th of March, and the latest military parade, China could not be trusted to keep their end of the deal, the end of the bargain. They have violated the treaty again and again, and therefore now they want to enforce their will upon the people of Hong Kong. Although it was actually their right to impose that, however, their subsequent failures in upholding that treaty meant that they didn't actually want respect the treaty in the first place. Therefore, Taiwan actually sees China to be null and void in handling this, actually the treaty to be void, and for the people of Hong Kong to be kept autonomous. Thank you.
Thank you. I still do have a question about the ox that was mentioned before. Can someone take the floor and explain on that, if you don't mind?
The delegate of US might be able to answer that. What was the question? Could you please be exact?
The ox that was mentioned before, the one that has ties with China and captured in Bangkok. Can you explain more about that? We would be very grateful to hear it.
Basically, to describe it, this has more to do with the United Kingdom, especially what happened in the 2030 terrorist attack on the Birminghams. There was practically around, it was confirmed that the troops that were captured were affiliated with the Chinese, and the Ox were the main suppliers of the weapons. And from investigations from the FBI and also from the UK counterparts, and from 12 years after chasing, we have found out that the Ox is one of the again, weapon suppliers for these terrorist attacks that are sponsored by the Chinese, because in fact, the Ox themselves, the military weapon supplier who supplied explosive charges, are affiliated with Chinese intelligence. That is all. Maybe the UK would like to explain more, because the UK is also affiliated with this topic.
Okay, thank you, Delegate of the United States. The UK can only spill several informations regarding the Ox. The UK conducted several joint operations involving a lot of actually sectors here, the police service, the MI6, the MI5, as well as the GCHQ, on hunting the so-called the Ox. She's rumored to, she's actually an ex-PLA officer, an ex-People's Liberation Army officer that are currently working as an arms dealer in China. Being an ex-PLA officer, of course, guarantee that she have connections to the Communist Party of China, as well as to the intelligence community of the People's Republic of China. After 12 years of pursuits, after many interrogations of Irish Republican Army ex-fighters in the United Kingdom, as well as more investigations in mainland China, we concluded the fact that the Ox is in China, and we extracted her out of China, as well as putting her on trial within the United Kingdom, so that justice can be served and the British public lives can be upheld in this case.
Thank you very much. I do still have one more question. Am I allowed to ask, or is it my time is up?
Yes, one more question.
So I'm throwing this question to the floor. Do you still have plans on solving this problem diplomatically instead of, I suppose this is not going to go down well? Is there any plan on solving this in a more humane way, if possible, and if that makes sense? Thank you. Yeah.
Can Taiwan answer this one?
Yes, please.
Taiwan do believe that diplomatic channels are open, and we had in the past tried to approach China to actually conduct a talk in a neutral ground regarding this issue. However, our talk was rejected, and we were still going to open one more chance for talk against with China regarding this issue. However, our stance is still clear. The status regarding the autonomy of China, or the autonomy of Hong Kong, sorry, is non-negotiable. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next press can go.
Okay, thank you, journalists. The next to speak is another journalist from SCMP. The name of Alia. You may have the floor.
All right, thank you, chairs and the delegates for the time. Regarding the latest news that we have been seeing before, so China Morning Post would like to know: is the government already made a new agreement regarding the situations, or already discussed a new things to solve this problem? Thank you.
Any delegate want to answer that, or is it a specific question to a delegate, journalist?
It's up to delegates. Any delegates could answer this question.
Can the delegate of the US answer this?
Yes, you may.
Okay, then. Thank you for the question, South China Morning Post. When we're talking about things that we've tried to talk about and tried to do with the set governments, we've tried definitely talking to the government of China, as our committee directive has stated around years ago, but it again has failed due to very unorthodox reasons, and also for the fact that we cannot talk because the Chinese government did not want to talk because Taiwan. However, that is in itself a very detrimental factor to what we're trying to do. So in the fact that we did commit to several actions, to try and pressure China in like economically. We tried to threaten sanctions. We also tried joint military exercises that provoked them back in the few years ago councils around 2020. However, the delegate of the United States, at least at the current time, we will say that we have done many things, but specifically when we try to communicate to China, they never gave us the chance to put up diplomatic channels for a decent civilized civilized dialogue, so to say. So yeah, the delegate himself has reached a maximum tolerance for this issue, but for everyone else, we've come to the agreement that it is very hard to talk diplomatically to China, but we have tried.
Okay,
Alright, thank you.
are there any other delegates who wants to respond to the question?
Yes, Taiwan would like to respond.
Okay, you may have the floor.
Right. Taiwan approach and the group approach regarding this issue are going to be simple. First, the approach of the talk has elapsed. Now our current approach is going to help the protesters on the ground on any way possible. But especially we are going to do it in a legal way. Of course, giving assistance through legal assistance and of course monetary and opening up of visa doors to these protesters. For now, those are the routes or options that we are going to take. And for any further developments, we are not close to the possibility of more extreme measures to be taken against China if brutal reprisals are still being done towards the people of Hong Kong. 谢谢.
All right, thank you. Are there any follow-up questions, journalists? No? Okay.
No, I think that's all.
Yes?
I think that's all.
Okay, that's all. Okay, and to the last journalist of the day is BBC under the name of Fernando. You may have the floor.
The question is simple. Are there any news about the whereabouts of Mr. Kwok? Because we know the disappearance of Mr. Kwok is the source of this protest. Are there any news about him? Thank you.
Okay, can I answer that one?
Yes, you may.
Okay, so talking from the British intelligence agencies, we do not know we do not know how Mr. Kwok disappeared. However, we do have sent task force on locating and tracking Mr. Kwok but to no avail. We aren't able to actually locate the exact locations of Mr. Kwok, but we do believe that he is still in Hong Kong and under the guardians of the People's Republic of China, either the Ministry of State Security or the National Stability Safeguard, which is the new agencies that was made by the Hong Kong SAR government.
Are there any delegates who wants to respond to that? Okay, seeing none. The journalist of SCMP under the name of Shavanisa wants to have another question for the floor. Journalist, you may have the floor.
Thank you for your time. I suppose after this, things aren't gonna go the diplomatic way, I suppose. And I do have a question for everyone who's willing to answer. Do you have any plan on maintaining stability and safety for the other nations that is not involved in this conversation? Perhaps like Indonesia, Malaysia. Do you have any plans to ensure their safety and their stability? Thank you.
Can Taiwan answer?
Yes.
Yes, you may.
Yes, our group do have plan for that. We have open membership to any Asian countries, and our application for membership are not limited to countries, but also governments. And of course, every applicant members are welcome to apply. And our organization is a collective security or collective security regime organization, which means that every member that is part of the committee will support each other in terms of defense. It doesn't mean that we are alliance, so it will not break the neutrality principle of some countries, but it is to provide room for our mutual response against a common aggressor. 谢谢.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. So we have another journalist in the room, the journalist of Reuters. Do you want to ask a question to the floor regarding the news?
Okay. Thank you for the time, Kak. So I want to ask, regarding this situation, is there any responsibility regarding the long-term effect? I want to ask this to the floor. Thank you.
Are there any delegates want to respond to that, or does the journalist needs to read her question?
Points, yes. Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes.
Journalist, can you please repeat your question slowly?
Okay. Thank you for the time, Chair. So I want to ask to the floor. So regarding this situation, is there any responsibility, especially for the long-term effect? Thank you.
Can the US answer that?
Yes, you may.
In terms of support after what will be done, especially with our actions and our escalating threat situation as of right now, the delegate of US is considering, of course, more support, as we've already shown that between our actions, we've actually already helped one of our nations that almost got screwed over, basically by China, which is Thailand. Thailand can also state that the United Kingdom and the United States will be able to support, and it did support from the earlier years of our committee sessions. Therefore, the delegate of the US does not will support continuously of what happens to after this situation and after our actions are permitted. Any other delegate would like to add?
Yes, thank you. Taiwan would like to add to that regarding the future plan for future actions, of course, concerning stability within Asia. We have times and times again ensured that our current process, if Hong Kong stays autonomous, we are going to guarantee China that Hong Kong will be a guaranteed place for a financial center in Asia. And if that is followed, then we will ensure that prosperity and mutual cooperation will not only work for Hong Kong, but also for China. So that is our plan for now, and we would like to follow up later if any development is possible. 谢谢.
All right, thank you, delegates. I see the journalist of SCMP has one other question, probably the last question for today. SCMP, you may have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. This is my last question of the day. I would just like to ask to the floor, to everyone who is willing to answer this, how far are you willing to go in terms of protecting Hong Kong, ensuring liberty? Just how far are you willing to go? And feel free to interpret that as you please. Thank you.
Can Taiwan answer?
Yes.
As far as Chapter 7 of the UN Charter allows, which is the pacific settlement of dispute. That's it.
All right, any other delegates want to respond? Seeing none, thank you, Chair, for the time. I'll give it back to you and the rest of the delegates. Good luck.
Thank you.